Let's see. Let's try this other one. Okay, so we'll monitor the comments there now, and can I ask for an apology? But for begin with, if Fambul and we watch the program, if one of the guests sound now, will you please give me a hands up? Now the thing is where you not get you back up, where you not get you back up, and when I just hang on right there, make I just do something like a backup. We're not a usual backup, but when I just hang on right there, let me just make sure. See, I've got this. I've got this right. Goodness me. Let me just make sure. See, them broadcast there. They're they're very serious. Um, and if you know they go right, then there's definitely something wrong. Okay, I think I've got volume now. If you let it go right, then there's definitely something wrong. Okay, I think I've got volume now. If you let it go right, then there's definitely something. My God. So Fambule begin once more. Can I just say sorry? Normally when you know the broadcast from the comfort of your studio, for monitor all of these little things, it can be a little bit of a daunting task. But what I do know is we get people who are really committed to listening to what we are saying for the better, for the good, or even for the worse. But when we get them wrong, they can always let us know. So there's a brother, I know say other people they say that in the comment box, but normally I can wait for the second half before I go to the comment box. But people they warn me. But there's a brother who called and say, you are not being heard. Can I say thank you so much to every one of Una? But let's move on with the program. I believe say Una they hear me now. Yeah, so I got the thumbs up. I got my backup now at the watch. Now I make it good forget the backup. But many thanks. So Famulem, today, now the 31st of August 2023. Very important, a critical point, because this is the end of August, basically in the month of 2023. And no longer shall we see another August in this year, 2023. For let we see an August of 2023, again for be in the following year, the year where they come. So that's why it is important. But having said this, can I also add that we don't put out a few bulletins for program that we're supposed to hold. But I want the family to understand that away from waiting at they do so, I also get a full-time job. We, of course, you get for pay attention to Ram because it does a whole lot. So I want for telling a thank you for tuning in. We not come with them program, then they will be promised because I'm kind of tied up. Okay. I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the screenwriter, and you name it. But I get the back of some of Una, although some they pray for let we fail. But thank you so much. So now that we get now that we get voice or audio, I want to discuss this program very short. It's no strange because we don't talk about them. This is about the elections of 2023, June, on the 24th day of that month of the year. There are many questions being raised to this day, almost 2 months. In fact, it's over 2 months. What really happened with the elections? What were the expectations of some people? Did it turn out to be right? Why didn't it? What went wrong? Or prior to that, did something went wrong? What went wrong? How did it go wrong? What should we do, or can we do to rectify some of these shortcomings, these failings? The bottom line, families, there have been shortcomings and failings. And what we think, say some people can just bully we into silence, bully everybody into silence, doesn't work this way. It does work some way in which some people can accept for go into the state of mind that they are being directed to, into the state of mind that they think say they are comfortable with for defend a regime or this has not gone down well with a bulk of we listening public. No, we listening public, in fact, has been asking questions. What is wrong? What is wrong? How do we change the narrative? There are questions to be asked. What are the questions? Elections, were they held free and fair? Were the results open? Were they free and fair? And many other questions. And as I speak to Una Fambulem, this really hasn't gone away. I repeat, this really will not go away. It not go away in the sense the international community, where the Julius Maada Bio government don't come for loath. Imagine this, I use the word loath, L-O-A-T-H. Questions as to the sincerity. I can go into that on another day. But for today, I want to talk about our sincerity today on the part of we international partners. What did they do? How did they do? What did they do? Who did they support and why? Then we go move forward. You see, every time we promise we will make it quick. Because there's going to be two aspects or three, and then we landing. You see, Fambulem, the international community has been people where they play double standard. But having said this, they still get the moral uprightness, the moral fortification for make a case for determine as to where are we as Sierra Leoneans supposed to be today. In terms of a democracy that we fought for, in terms of the lives of our masses of people that went dead or missing in action, in terms of the predicament we befall with people, in terms of the hacking of limbs where we people suffer, and the most critical and upright of it all, now a young lady, beautiful, very beautiful, whose hands were chopped off. In left hand, I believe in left hand, then cut them off. That lady grew up to have been a fine lady, but prior to now, all governments then tout them, they use them for get a consensus on we country, probably most likely wrong. And he playing part. I don't want to go into the politics of that, but today we they say such people were very critical and very essential or central to the struggle. And as we speak today, on this auspicious occasion of waiting we dey talk about, we want for pay homage, we want for pay respect to we compatriots them, we fellow citizens them, we lost their lives in the pursuit of the struggle for whether you want to call it independence or many other things, because it's taking different shape and form. We want to say thank you to all the people when they participate into that. You see, some of the participation the way we make is about democratic empowerment. These are not just mere words. They are words or sentences or phraseology with meaning to which we talk about. When we talk about the essence of democracy and the respect for human rights, the rule of law, you don't expect any other interpretation from basically what it is, within the layman go understand. So you don't need a rocket science. You don't need an Oxford dictionary or whatever other dictionary you will need. Just that basic for explain that we, the people, we need respite. We need good governance. We need to be approved or recognized for the good works that we are doing for move the country forward. Anything on the extraordinary is unacceptable. So this night only go on during a short period now in country, in which now that the powers that be realize some people are just fake. Some people them they just fake. Then they do what they're supposed for do. But yet they are making the biggest noise or the loudest noise. That's what they are doing. While others are committed to the well-being of the country, how do we move the country forward? When they look for people and we just want to play with the system, we look for people who are committed to the system, who will take the bull by the horn. Yes, Fambulemuna Yerimi right. Every day we will sleep up, including today, as while something momentous don't happen, as we sleep we grab tomorrow morning, something bigger is going to happen. I'm not saying that I know what's going to happen, just from the trend of things, we know say something bigger for happen. Fambulem, Salonde at a crossroad. And like I say, because the program short, I will just dash quickly to the point. Sierra Leone is at the crossroads, or is at a crossroad. The country and the people in where we sabi, they are being compromised, all for the personal aggrandizement of one person. And I say this without hesitation because it border on the truth. It border on the truth as to waiting we didn't know now, not to waiting we know then. Or we can know what will be know then, but we not be understand them. But what we know now is the system is being manipulated against the people, in which there is a set of people who are benefiting and the others are not. And this is going to continue for the rest of humanity if actions or action is not or are not taken for remedy this situation. I repeat, if actions or action are not taken for remedy the situation where we find ourselves, then of course we are doomed as a people and as a nation. You see, everything in life get consequence for Mulem. Elections, as we want to talk about are now, get consequence. You can be the most powerful, the all-powerful. I repeat, you can be the most powerful and the all-powerful, but you do as a human being get your limitations. And in leadership or as a leader, you need for understand those limitations. You can go into anthropology and understand how human beings don't survive up to this point. And maybe you can borrow a line, a pattern, or a sequence from that. How human beings don't survive from this pattern, this catastrophe that we were in then up to where we are now. The bottom line is we have survived. And if we have survived as a people, waiting we learn for that basic survival day, we can't inculcate them into a society. I know that it's not simple, but we can bring and come into a society or factor them and use them to a pro advantage or an advantage to we the people. I repeat, to we the people. Unfortunately, this has not been the case. Because why? We are divided among a bunch of people where there is a group or individual where very, very powerful as opposed to others where they below the watermark, where probably no one will fear. But the one with the fear, it keeps surfacing. And if we not understand or agree with that individual, which means that the representation of that individual or those of us that are in that force situation, plaba situation, we only stand for lose we country. And how many of us want for really lose we country? How many of us? Not very many. But there lies the situation. And something really need for crack, something really need for change. And it's that change that we are aspiring towards. It's that change that we are aspiring towards. It's not like if we believe, say, God created mankind, but inside mankind is set discrimination, is set a rule of racism that if I am black or brown and anybody else will not bear me color, then that person they talk about the black and brown people, not really that one person but the black and brown people, they are suspect. They are in denial of what the really truth is, waiting at the real truth, they are in denial. But we are not giving up because we will continue for pursue the reality. I repeat, we will continue for pursue the reality. Now let's cite some references. Not recently, it's been a number of years. The idea that many things have happened since then from a point to another, it is significant and indicative of waiting on the happening over a period of time. Jitendra, that's an Indian name, of course, may get a sway over this period of time. Unfortunately, his monarchy may not last long. But what we need for learn from that is people where I know one sound like the former police chief, people excuse me. But people where they pretend as if they get everything to their power, as opposed to a club or officials of a club where they come up from the fringes of that club day for talk to the international community. It has its ifs and its buts. Do we accept it? Are we willing? Very, very important, Fambolem. Having said this, Fambolem, go quickly again to the point where we decide for do this broadcast, which is almost an emergency broadcast. The government of retired Brigadier Juius Maada has received confirmation. I repeat, the president not received confirmation in terms of sanctions and embargo that has been brought against his regime. And bear in mind that this is just the beginning. I repeat, the government of retired Brigadier His Excellency Julius Maada has received communications from the international community as to the intent, waiting an intent for do with we country, based on complaints lodged against the country and other things then we don't be on go. Fambulem, as we speak this evening, the government of Julius Maada don't come under visa restriction. The other name for visa restriction is we can call a travel ban, which means that certain officials of government, they're not go able for going to certain places, despite if they want to make the case, say, oh, now because of the people, in behalf of the people, that is why. No, the people they get the intel, say XYZ was responsible, help for facilitate, or help for bring disrepute, or expunge rhetoric, which bears all the hallmarks of division, and not only division, but for spark this country into a civil moment, an interregnum. In other words, the difference is so vast that we all go viral and become upset. We're not accepting this. Also, X one for kill Y. And Y understands saying that Y X. And they try to do a basic permutation. But this is it. So the family said, no, we don't agree. But the idea here is the presidency under retired Brigadier Juius Maada has been sanctioned. This is not the first major sanction. There have been few others where we don't really talk about. And when I say we, I mean like in a capital W, plural sense, we haven't spoken about it, all the other media bloggers in this sense, because sometimes we wait for them to understand. But the president has not been queried. He's not been questioned. And what the international community can normally do is what they are doing now. They are slow to act, but they are sure to act. And I've spoken about this a few times. Only people are frustrated at the pace of which unanticipated indictment they come off from will become frustrated, because eventually what happen. The country, as we Sabiam, is a sovereign country. Now, waiting as sovereign in the basic sense means you get your freedom. You are a free person. Okay? So therefore, we say you're entitled to your freedom. Yet we get freedom, still going back to the true form of freedom. Because there are these definitions of freedom. The conflict, in other words, with within the African governments being stand for. Well, anyway, having said this, I don't see a long time into this, because outside the man go seek refuge, the Burkinabes are creeping bit by bit, supporting the Nigerians and saying, if you are attacked, we are attacked too, and we will join forces with you to defend this great nation. The exploitation as a Sabian, this is Blaise Compaoré, has been ongoing for a number of decades. Now is the time to put a stop to it. Family, this is serious and extremely serious. Julius Maada, they under intense pressure, and the intense pressure can be addressed today as we speak. Now, we get family under we now chief picking them. In other words, they come on a chieftaincy home. So most of we local product them in terms of raw fish, which I value very much. Remember my late dad, Dr. Emerson Cromer, Shebra man from Dung River, so used to fish. He go just buy fish. And big fish, he just make them cut and down to size, season them and fry them and put them on a dining table. Anybody can pass around and pick up a piece. That's how we live then. But this one is so important, family, that we should not let go. We have to make absolute use out of this moment. Okay? So let's keep continuing. So, okay, like I say, we continue. We've been just one for say that the international community don't slap a travel ban on the president and members of the entourage in this sense, members of the cabinet. A lot of them has been sectioned, has been banned, okay, by the home government. So some of these things where these embassies they may depend on and people and where they can buy over in terms of solidarity is because the French supports us. So if the French support us, whatever we want is going to pass. But these things can only last for a period of time, isn't it? It's like hallucination. You are hallucinating. And then it's going to come to an end after you don't raise yourself to a standard and level. But it was based on the premise of fakery. And then you get for freedom. So every day now you are going to church for try for make up for that. Having said this, so the dogs, and I didn't learn about dog police. In Dove Court at the time, when we get dog police, where they wear brown khaki short uniform with koboko na their hand, where they can catch the dog, then get Lily Omalanke, where they call Mini Omalanke, because the dog not collar, and she is caught on the street, she will be taken. And imagine we and the dog, there is a pact and a bond that is formed between us. So anyway, family and they try, what they really get for try, hard enough. They really, really need get for try, hard enough. All right, Fambulem. Many thanks to the second half of the program, and let me just try to put the second half to rest. I will be traveling to Netherlands tomorrow. Yes, and I'll be visiting The Hague. Now, visiting The Hague, not just sightseeing, has nothing to do with the ongoing issue regarding those with table, an indictment against the ruling government of Sierra Leone. No. But whilst I will be in Holland, I'm going there on a speaking tour, on a program. I will be there tomorrow. I will endeavor for do a program from there. So maybe you might see some background or maybe pictures of The Hague. But I will be there tomorrow. I'll leave London tomorrow for Amsterdam. Um, a very important issue here, Famulem. In fact, there are almost 306 of us, 308 of us watching collectively on YouTube and Facebook. And if we could just double this number, but we can't end soon. The June 24 elections, we don't talk about them very much. We, Fambulem, and I am going to say this on the record. We are back to square one where we started from. And the reason why is because a certain group of individuals have decided that it's only going to be them and not any other. I repeat, certain group of individuals don't decide, say, it's either going to be them or no other. What's my proof? This is what we do here on this platform. What's in my proof? My proof is big officials, them big allegio them, both in government and in the ruling party, have come out for say this in different sets, in different names, in different forms. APC is not good for the country, or we're not going to hand over until the next 40 years. We can say the other side do one. The intent and the substance then for them carry out within them, they say, other than ordinary propaganda led by Mohammed Bangura, who is now MP, who will get for deal with shortly. They were the ones saying this. Now, they say this. But as SLPP, they say now, then they say with substance. APC not good for the country. I see them say it's echoed. The choir goes into motion. APC not good for the country. We're not going to hand over power to the APC. The leader of the SLPP party, Dr. Prince Harding, said this publicly. So I am not making up any of this. It's say I'm in the presence of the head of state. Okay? But going back again to the issue of sanction, Una, forgive me, because this is just how me can present my program. I can drift away within the same vein and try for comeback. But I know say this is what you're interested in. When the president will caution, I'm saying, well, we need to see the result of the elections. The president not be interested in that because from waiting we the understand, those results as were pronounced by Mr. Mohamed Kone did not reflect the views, neither the aspirations of the people of Sierra Leone. In other words, the votes of the people on elections, as critical as elections are, can be, were stolen. They were stolen. The U.S. outgoing ambassador threw works into the engine, or a spanner, better said, into the engine. In other words, it disturbed the discordance of the engine because it threw away something there where the engine for the beat regularly. Now, because of what it don't throw the engine is not beating regularly, and there is a potential, there's a tendency that it will end or the engine will come to a stop. Fambulem, Julius Maada Biode into serious problem, into serious pressure. I repeat, Julius Maada Bio, we head of state, is in a serious dilemma. It is under serious pressure. You can decide for deny. What we have consistently done on this platform is when we make an assertion, we provide some degree of evidence, because we they say it's not a sum total to which we see is still open to interpretation. Might not be the silver bullet, but at least we can be on track. And for the number of years gone, we've made best of waiting with the sea, because largely waiting with the sea turn out for look like say we damn well know what we are saying. The government is in this predicament because if we recall again, some weeks ago, you have to have the eye of a pundit and a critical mindset. Your brain and everything they work in tandem for let you sometimes figure out these things. With democracy had been compromised. I repeat, with democracy had been compromised. Having had that democracy they compromised, those who compromised the democracy will now have to find a new way or something new for sell to the Sierra Leonean people. It might be the same numbers, the same figures, but how for calibrate them and fine tune and put them out to the people in a propagandistic fashion that the people will have to believe that what they are saying is true. But here are the fault lines. Family, as we speak, with people are in dire straits. With people are in dire straits. What do I mean by dire strait? The economy is in shambles. The economy is in shambles, and for effect, I repeat one more time that economy is in shambles. The purchasing power parity is almost zero. The value of we currency is dangling in the balance. Inflation is running rampant. Food inflation, look at the behind that up to today, as I speak to una family, with people are not able to cope with the situation. And suffice me for say that even the president has come up on general media to the general public that I cannot, with the way how things are going, the trend, the nature of how things are going, I cannot help my people. Imagine this. This is not the president, they say this. But of course, not mortal man. And me readily will let for forgive him. Readily. But then you get the stalwarts, you get the stooges, you get the foot soldiers, you get the rabid supporters. We just think, say, things are right. Then always they look for analogies, for draw a parallel situation, both in the then and the now. Which doesn't make no sense to me other than continue for perpetuate the argument where eventually they distract we from the common goal, the common agenda, the common denominator. Fabulem, the president Julius Maada say you know go for adjust the economic problems then that we did in. Basically, he washed his hands off. The conundrum here, or the quagmire, or what will lead to that is the same president took a mandate to the people, say, I need another 5-year mandate. And if we can go by the code as to the issue of sanity, so we go preserve sanity, let's agree. We know say it wasn't right that the election results as held by Kane and waiting he read are two different things. And even when he appeared, like Brad in Bush Road, he had a different take, a perspective into the real narrative. But this cannot continue forever and ever. So these people then challenge, not in challenge, because of course it was then in power, then decide for sex up, for manipulate, for maneuver the results of the elections, then position whose side then stand and create a kind of sentiment which run antithetical to the union of the state between Northwest and Southeast and all the others together as one people. Simply because for the ruler. Having said this again, as we speak, this government, this regime, we realized, say, well, the power structure still exists. We made a coup. What happens after then? How do we go forward from here? We don't know the Sierra Leonean army for being ideological, such as the Burkinabe army or the Venezuelan army. No, they are not. These armies are not. There are armies of chances. There are armies of situations. What is the situation today? Do we act on this? Now, how do you engage others for bring them into this womb of secrecy? For when the day come for let you carry out your plan, you know you are confident that everybody know what they do. Where is it? Fambulema once more for reminder now that Julius Maada has had sanctions and embargo slapped on him. This is major. And the first sanctions and embargo being slapped on we president is the restriction of movement. The restriction of movement. No more is it allowed that Sierra Leoneans within an island would just move about so easily. No, I don't agree why they shouldn't, even though I try to look at the nature of the security threat. But overall, no, I don't agree. Fambulem, as I speak to Una, the trouble is brewing. In terms of the continent and specifically to a certain region known as the Sahel, there have been almost 7 military coups since 2021. The stats are not impressive in the sense that, wow, so this is exactly what they go on. And this night they go on over 200 and some more pounds at 50 pounds. So you want to take that chance there. Famulem, every good thing must come to an end. In other words, I'm just advising that we are drifting towards the end bit by bit. But when we decide to become guests of the management of London Transport, it's been very, very revealing that there is a lot for we learn from there, because the intent was to learn from this particular setup. And as we talk again, the Julius Maada government is in real trouble. The United States government, the most powerful government on the face of this earth, don't slap some degree of punishment on the Julius Maada government. And when they slap you, some decent slap coming from this setup. In other words, hunger already exists. The president of the Republic of Sierra Leone already exists. Put the two together in terms of force, it becomes potent, it becomes brutal, it becomes lethal. So if I were to use that against you, that spells out a serious problem that you will not be able to withstand. Hence, here is where we are, that the United States is trying to stop the winning or winnings of another South American nation. Will it work? We don't know. But the potential for it to work, stop them from moving forward, is looming high. There are many other things they want to go like for say, but this waiting I just say so within the last 1, 2, 3 minutes, very important. Very important. We are looking for the right to self-determination of people who will self-determine who they are, what they are, waiting they want to be, how they want to be, waiting they want to be. But we can't deny they collect crumbs, because some of us who say we come on will not be ever get access to car or a house or home But look at the opportunity where we get now. So instead of us going undercover and lying safful until the right time, 6-bedroom apartment, 10-bedroom apartment, running water, this amenity, this facility, dotted all over the place. Ebo, but Fambulem, I mean, every good thing will need to come to an end. But just before I bring this program to an end, few announcements. Um, the Right Reverend Evangelist Komba will be on this program next week. With their friend and brother, Larry Johnson, will also be on the program this week. We are in talks with another two, that's Scott Ritter, and then another person. For let we get a discussion around this Brexit thing, because this will merely means an opportunity or occasion for let a group of country bordering from the global south come together. This could be that intent, and I'm just saying this could be. But then we represent Boku Boku Gracias, and you name it. So maybe we'll go offend somebody for PRM, and if he wins, fine. If he doesn't, well, that's how I was meant to be anyway, like I would say. But we need for end this game. And instead of end the game on 7 pens, I will left the game open in which the director of police now in the use against the speaking. So it did with them neck. And then the others are just followed and they follow. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a TNN Then and Now Media Empire program. Today, now the 28th of July, 2023, and me with the talk to una, my name na Prince Emil Krumah. Una get for forgive me because we get over 330 people watching. If I ask for that, all family multiply that, it automatically becomes 660, and so forth and so on. Hence how we can generate the numbers. Famulem, once called us, is a major side. With 4 more other countries, we are bound to retrieve or recoup with money. And then we'll really change life for challenge going further, whether it's going to happen or not. But after all said and done, the Russian people will prevail. The Russian Republic will stand tall. And the Russian Republic is proud of its people that it sent out on military missions. Thank you so much and goodbye. So now in that family, we managed to pull this off. It wasn't a scheduled program, but as fluid as the situation can be back home, we have no regrets, no remorse that we bring for air the program. Terona, thank you very, very much. On the issue of precaution, we accuse Russia of being the victim. I want to introduce another point in terms of Russian. I don't believe, from the evidence stack up against, that the Russians were available. I believe they were not available, Mr. Crook. I will make it black.